All children can benefit from counseling. All parents can benefit from counseling. A child's physical, cognitive, social, or emotional capacity does not prevent them from benefiting from a good child therapist. It's our job as child therapists to figure out how to connect with and work with the child and the parents. And there are a lot of ways to do that, even with nonverbal, pre-verbal, physical adaptations. So don't let abilities or unusual abilities stop you from seeking help for your child. I think a parent should seek professional help when they start to feel out of control, when they feel like they don't know what to do anymore, or when they're concerned that their child is out of control. Therapy can be provided for the parent and help them practice and value self-care. But it can also be provided for the child. There are a lot of ways we can help parents and children with regulation. Some of it is talk therapy, but it's not all talk therapy. A lot of dysregulation comes from trauma, and trauma is best treated through means other than just talk therapy alone. And so utilizing, for example, something called eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is a go-to form of trauma treatment right now, and it's evidence-based, is a wonderful way to help children, even pre-verbal or nonverbal children, process trauma in the sensory system and help adults also. So it might just be more than I'm stressed out. And if it's more than I'm stressed out, definitely seek help. The ways to help kiddos at home with their social and emotional development, I think the most important thing is to recognize their emotions, name their emotions, and honor them. Children have all the emotions that we have. They don't have the names for them yet. We are teaching them the names, the distinction between sad, bummed out, frustrated, angry, raging. There are nuances in there, and we're teaching them. So by using language to assign words to feelings, we not only teach our children the academics of this is what that feeling is called, but we're honoring it and we're valuing it, and we're telling our children it's okay to have it. Throwing something is not okay, but feeling the emotion that caused you to throw something is okay. And again, that goes back to parents, because they may have been raised where that feeling was not allowed. And if it wasn't allowed in your family of origin, it's going to be very hard for you to recognize, tolerate, and let your child be okay with that emotion too. Yeah, I specialize in trauma, and so in the world of trauma care, the idea of the way the mind, the way our thoughts, our somatic experience, our sensory system, and our feelings come together to store trauma and reprocess trauma is critical. And when we're talking about child development and brain development, that's all part of it, right? How we flip our lids. And so for me, the new ways of addressing trauma, it's not talk. We still do talk therapy around trauma for sure, but the new go-to ways of dealing with trauma, it does not necessarily involve a lot of talk, which I think is wonderful, because shame and embarrassment are hard to verbalize, and so you don't have to tell your story to the therapist. You know what? My favorites are when I do with the families who have children with disabilities. I work with a lot of NICU families, and the trauma that has developed as a result of that experience of being in the hospital, of wondering if their child would survive, of the unexpected issue that was unknown in pregnancy and presents itself at birth, and the repeated visits to the doctor and all of that. So that trauma can get in the way of bonding with the child, the baby or the child. It can also cause a parent to be like a helicopter parent, be hypervigilant and not give the child the space to develop. I really like working with families who want to do that work, who want to reprocess and restore those traumatic experiences so that they are no longer symptomatic and can be calmer and less anxious and more present to their child for who they are in that moment. That parent-child work is what I love. And we might provide an intervention to the parent or provide an intervention to the child, but ultimately, how are those interventions and the reduction in symptoms for each contributing to a more enjoyable, close, connected relationship for the parent and the child together? So that relationship is